Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Well, isn't it interesting? After all of that debate before the election on this very bill, where the government wanted to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and now they want to close the debate down. Well, I think New Zealand families will be able to see exactly what's going on there. There is a word for that. We're not quite allowed to use it in this context. But, Mr Chair, Clause 5 is the part of the bill which does need extensive debate, because this is where the duration is actually spelt out in this bill. And this is the contentious part of the bill, because this is the specific point of disagreement between the people who are voting for this bill and the people who are voting against this bill, the duration. And what Clause 5 does is it actually stages the implementation of 26 weeks paid parental leave in 2 stages. So people might recall that this was quite a part of the bill that caught the public's imagination, because when my bill was first drawn from the ballot in Easter 2012, the Finance Minister, who is still the Finance Minister today, Bill English, said, oh, you know, it's just completely unaffordable, completely unaffordable. And so the idea of staging the implementation of this became an incredibly important part in the public debate, because people could see that I, as a member, and on behalf of the Labour Party actually, we were taking a very responsible approach to this, because actually the Labour Party's policy was to get to 12 months paid parental leave. We didn't believe that that was immediately affordable in the environment, the fiscal environment of 2012, and so we decided that the next best stage that we should aim for was 26 weeks. But again, in acknowledgement of the global financial crisis, which was really at full throttle at that period of time, we wanted to do it in a staged way, and this is the part that actually does it in this bill, the clause, I should say, Clause 5. So it does it by bringing 22 weeks paid parental leave in as of the 1st of July next year. And because of the amendment that I have going in for Clause 5 as well, this would mean, if the government wasn't so mean-spirited, that families in the categories that we have been outlining in the previous debate could have been enjoying 22 weeks paid parental leave from the 1st of July next year. And then in Clause 5 it says that they could have been taking part in 26 weeks paid parental leave by the 1st of July 2017, and that is the impact of Clause 5. Mr Chair, I want to take some time to debunk what the flimsy small contribution that the National Party have made to the debate this evening about their reasons for voting against those families. Because what they have said is that families who have multiple births, well, according to the current government, they already get well supported by the government. But here's the truth of the matter. The home help that the Minister Anne Tolley referred to is available for 3 months. It's only available for 3 months, and that's the period of time that people currently get for paid parental leave. That's the reason why paid parental leave needs to be extended for people who have had a multiple birth, because their home help support runs out after 3 months. And that is the very reason why it needs to be extended to them. But also it's not available to all of those families who have a multiple birth. It's only available to them if they also have another child under the age of 5. So the statement from the Minister was completely misleading about the level of support that these families already enjoy. And that is why we actually had the woman Danelle Ballinger-Taylor come before our select committee and tell us about her saga. And I know that Jan Logie spoke about it earlier, but Mr Chair?
Sue Moroney.
I want to read from the written submission that Danelle Ballinger-Taylor put to our committee, because I think it really captures it. She said to the select committee, "We did all the right things before we decided to have a second child. We saved, budgeted and accrued annual leave. And then an ultrasound showed 2 little black blobs. Suddenly our plans looked inadequate. We needed more equipment, more money and a bigger car, yet I had to stop work a lot sooner, she said. Her obstetrician made her stop work at 28 weeks, so her paid parental leave ran out when the twins were 6 weeks old. So at 6 weeks old, they were in a growth spurt that saw her feeding the babies for 16 hours straight. They were using nearly 100 nappies a week, and she couldn't imagine going back to work, but their budget was already hurting. She said, we managed to cope until the twins were 5 months old, but they were still waking 3 or more times a night each. But yet financially, she had to go back to work. She says we were away from home 13 hours a day, commuting on the train. Every break I got, I rushed over to the daycare to feed them. It just about killed me. I had to resign after 2 months, on the verge of a complete mental breakdown. 3 more months of paid parental leave would have made a big difference. If we'd been able to wait until they were 8 months, I could have coped with going back to full-time work. They were sleeping better, breastfeeding would have been less frequent, so my work days would have been shorter. I would have been paying proper taxes for the past 2 years. I would have been putting money onto my student loan and into KiwiSaver, and we wouldn't be working for families. Parents of multiples in particular need more paid parental leave. Nobody plans on having twins. We have to stop work earlier, have greater risk of preterm infants, have higher expenses. If extended paid parental leave can't be fully funded, maybe it could be targeted at the families of multiples. That was her plea to the Select Committee and the inspiration behind the supplementary order paper that I have brought to this Parliament today. And colleagues who have spoken are absolutely right. That is not what we aimed to achieve with this. But I've taken the step in good faith to try and get an agreement across this Parliament that would benefit families. And the government tonight have snubbed exactly those families with their response. But it's no surprise, actually. I don't know why we were expecting that they might have done something common sense, because the government has shown time and time again that this is not their priority, that families are not their priority, and paid parental leave in particular is not their priority. They have spent more money moving the Treaty of Waitangi 1 block than what this bill asks them to spend in the next financial year, supporting around 2,800 families who desperately need the support. Now, I'm a great fan of preserving the Treaty of Waitangi, but that's the amount of money that we're asking to be spent on the future of those children's lives. And there is no comparison that should be able to be made on that. It is less than half. It's about a quarter of what John Key wants to spend on his referendums about a New Zealand flag that most of the, well, we don't even know. It could be that most of the country don't even want. And yet the government would rather spend money on that sort of folly than address the issues that are actually affecting us as a society. Mr Chair, Clause 5 is the part that would make the difference to those families. It would bring in 22 weeks on the 1st of July next year. Think about what that means. Mr Chair, it means that families who have possibly just had their first ultrasound, possibly just finding out that there are more than one black blob in the ultrasound, that they would, if this bill was passed tonight, they would have paid parental leave, extended paid parental leave of 22 weeks for their newborn children. It means that the families who won't know at this point in time that their baby is going to be a premature birth, that's before 37 weeks gestation, they would be entitled to it as well.